Hello guys, it's Elkskins. Today we're going to do the opposite of what a lot of people do. Uh, I've been struggling being able to see at night with the truck because a lot of these headlights, the aftermarkets, they don't work worth the crap. Um, and the OEMs, they don't last very long. Plus they get, what's the word, sun faded and glazed over and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer my truck from the plastic headlights to the glass sealed beams. I've got a temporary Chevy grill for this truck, but I'm not doing it like everybody else. We are going to go and do it a certain way. So I already pulled the harness apart a little bit, made sure we have the correct wiring. Everything's matching to the Donor 94 truck harness that I pulled from the junkyard. So this is what we're going to do. Now, you should disconnect the battery. Mine's been disconnected. Now, I don't know what size this is exactly, but a 1/4 inch fits this bulkhead connector. Now this bulkhead connector, this upper left harness goes to the back of the truck, this upper right harness goes to the front, and the bottom is the engine harness. Pull this apart. Okay, it's out. Alright. So, now you can separate these harnesses with clips. Okay, so get the screwdriver. Take this clip here and pop that. I know it's hard for you guys to see. Let me you're off the charcoal canister a little bit. So come on. So the thing here is you're gonna have to get this. This is a little bit of a tedious process. So there's other ways to do it, like actually snipping in the harness and, you know. Alright, that side is released. Now we want to go to the tail light side and get this clip released. So we can pull it up like so. Put the screwdriver up there. Now we want to get these harnesses out. Now, let me see something. Where is it? Let me remember how I did it on the other harness. Okay, so there should be a connector in here. That releases and this goes down. Can't remember exactly how it goes. But I know it comes out. How does it? I think that's how I did it. Okay. So you rotate it a little bit, and that comes out. So then you start unhooking these clips for the harness. And get the washer fluid clip removed, or wires removed. And then I'm going to move you guys. Now this truck's harness here, it's got something extra that the other harness doesn't have. Which this thing's got a secondary horn down here where you guys can't see. So. We're going to unhook that secondary horn somehow. Okay, got it. Now there's a 10mm ground wire right there that needs to come off. Which that needed to be cleaned anyway. So now that we got all that disconnected, we're going to put this up here. Then we can move to the front of the truck. So that's the setup I currently have. And I can't see worth the crap out of it. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to grab the screwdriver. Now something on the front end is goofy because I had to mess with the bumper brackets when I went to put the new bumper on. So when we get around to replacing the front fenders, core support, I'm gonna have to figure that out. The frame's not bent, but it took a hit in the right front, so pretty sure it might be shoved it in a little bit. I'm not entirely sure, but it's a work in progress. It's an old truck, so there is one thing I'm going to have to cut off this harness anyway, and that is the horn connector on this the other harness is bad. I think something was not working correctly here. So now all this can be shoved in here. So, see, I'm missing two mounting points for the lower grill. No biggie. I can grab those. Because it's going to get a GMC work truck grill eventually. Mechanics calling around too because the transmission's getting rebuilt. Yeah, I went up to Wisconsin and then to AJ's without using overdrive because, well, I don't tow in overdrive anyway, but the lockup in the torque converter is going. Which, you know, 313,000 miles on the original transmission, no signs of being rebuilt unless they used a stock torque converter during a rebuild and didn't label anything, but there was no writing or anything on the transmission, but we'll get a closer look at it once it's out. I may have done this a few times. So now, this other thing that's not going to be on this other thing, the side marker lights, they're not going to be used anymore. let's get the grill off. That one's missing that bolt. This one's busted. This grill is busted. I do have some more screws, so that's not a problem. There's latches you gotta be careful with. Come on. Alright, that one's removed. And this one. Alright, that one's removed. Separate that. So, yeah, this is another reason why I don't like the aftermarket headlights. Hopefully you can see that. They move. So, next step is we got to get this filler, bumper filler out. Oh yeah. Core support is bent a little bit down here at the bottom because this went in like that, not major. So that's what my problem is. There's so many parts trucks for these out there, it's not funny. So, but the problem is I'm having is people will say to me, well, why don't you just put a used transmission in it? I've looked, and guess what? I can't find one that is knowing good. Mechanic says he can get a rebuilt or get the transmission rebuilt for around 800 to 1,000. Realistically, I'm expecting 1,200 to 1,400 because I want some upgrades done to it. Because again, I haul a lot. This thing goes all over the place. Okay. So that's that. This should come right out. This transmission cooler is in the way. Yes, the mechanic put a transmission cooler on here. So many people wonder why I'm pulling the filler out too. There's a reason. I've got to get to this harness. And in order to get to that harness, you got to pull everything. Okay, so that one's disconnected. This one is disconnected. Now I can get to the headlight wiring. Now, in order to change the brights, yeah, the low beams are on the outside, the brights are on the inside. You got to pull the turn signals out. Okay. Now here's the fun part. Getting my fat hand in by the battery. Okay, hold on a second. I don't think it's this, but we'll see. Yes, it is. Okay. Now we're just going to move the battery out a little bit so I can get in here and unhook the headlight. Okay, now we got to undo the body ground over here, which you can't see. There's a head ground for each side of the truck for the headlights. And this one also goes to the body for, well, the inside, I mean. And then we gotta undo this connector. Where's my flathead? Right there. Okay, so next step, getting these headlights out. Now I am gonna, for later down the road, I am gonna just play around a bit, but yeah. So this harness here, it's got a clip right there that I just disconnected, and this harness here should come out. Oh, there's another clip down here that I forgot about, that you guys can't see. Okay, so I can unhook it. Okay. got that one. I'm trying, guys, to hurry. This fucking, or excuse my language, this thing is really messing with me. Broke it because it's being a pain in the rear. So now this is the reason why I needed to take this whole thing apart here. There is clips down here that hold the harness. That's one's out. Okay. That one's removed. This one here, we just release and release. Release. Clip there. So let's see, there's one right here that needs to come loose. There it is, it's loose. Okay, the harness is out. So let me do a couple odds and ends and then we'll go from there. I've got to trace down my horn wires and go from there. So you don't need to see that. Okay, I got the second horn wired up. Plus I replaced the connector on the main horn, which is the front one. I still have to remove this light over here, and then we can get to installing it. get to installing the harness. Alright. So, this ground wire for the other horn, it will be hooked up. I have to do that still. So we start off by shoving it through the hole. Washer fluid reservoir or washer fluid sprayer. Come on, get through here. Okay. Shove this through here first. This is the secondary horn. Which I know I don't need. Come on, headlight connector. Okay. Well, now that we got that done, now we can start off by reinserting the bulkhead connector, go from there and around. So let's move you in. Oh, that's not gonna work. Guess I'll have to do it this way. Come on. That's gonna fall. Okay. There. It's set up. Okay. So the bulkhead connector, okay, let's see. These slide together like so. Then these slide in from the back. That's right. Get in there. Okay. So all right. So that's there. Now we can tighten the screw up, because the bulkhead connector is going back on. I think that's what it's called. I'm not. Don't ask me. It's just a firewall connector. my own terminology. Okay, so that's that. Then we route it over here. Get the washer fluid hose out of the way. Clip it in. Alright, that's clipped in. Then we do the one over here. Then we do this one here. Then we run the washer fluid. Then there's one more over here. We clip that in. Okay, now we clip the horn in. Which way does that go? Okay, it looks like it goes this way. This connector is very hard to see. I think I have it on backwards. Yep, I did. So, alright. Now, there's this ground wire which I can connect. So, there's that. Let's go back out here. Let's focus on that left front. Let me grab a couple items. There's this. So, these are the headlight buckets and whatnot off of the 94 work truck. So, this white one was on the side. This black one, which is not in very good shape, was on the top. So, then you just slip this in here. Come on, get in there. Find the groove, get in there. Find this groove, get in there. And then we take the spring. There's a slot right here. You turn that, you pull that over. You gotta get the pliers to do this. And you put it right there on the headlight. So, I went out this morning bought 2 of these. AutoZone had 2 in stock. Usually usually I don't shop at AutoZone. Usually I go to O'Reilly's. There's a protective cover on the back of the prongs. You got to pull that off. Slide this in. What's that with the there it is. Now you hook up your wire connector in the back of the headlight. Now I'm going to pause the camera and I'm going to do the ground wire for the horn and hook that up with the headlight. So make sure you guys clean your grounds when you're doing stuff like this, because that ground over there on the left side really did need it. So now we are going to start routing the wire back through the clips. The repaired horn wire, actually it's the connector off the other loom. Alright, so that's why it's a little bit long. So here's headlights, or the right side turn signal. Okay, so now we gotta fish the wires up here in the back. So let's do that. Okay, these hang out here because they go on out there. This wire here is the ground wire and it needs cleaned up. When I had the black truck, this ground wire over here on the fender was giving me problems. It was causing all sorts of issues. This alright, so that goes like so. This goes there's a trans-cooler line sitting in the middle of the way. So you get this back into its clip and ready to go on. Now we need to get the headlight wires up and around. Alright, they're there. So, now we can put the headlight in on the right hand side. You can see where it got smacked in one of the accidents. It's right here. because this fender is all messed up. This is messed up. The course report shows some damage. I'm kind of wondering if the course report wasn't shoved in over there. This truck's been in a couple of accidents. You can tell on the left rear corner of the bed that there was an accident there because the tail light don't line up correctly. Oh yeah, this is a fun one because the air box is right there. Okay, so that's that. Grab the pliers. Latch this in the grooves on the adjusting screw. Get it over here. Then, okay, there's a slot here. You turn that. That goes right there. You grab the spring with the pliers, bring it out, grip that assembly, and it's tight. And yes, there is no other video converting the truck over to sealed beams from the plastic. I've checked. Now, a lot of people that were going from these style to the plastic style, like what was on here, they were cutting wires, doing all kinds of stuff. I gotta take the screws out. I gotta set the headlight down. Mechanic forgot a piece of little hose. So if you guys are local to me and you have a good used transmission that will fit this truck, let me know. It has to be a 93, 94 4L60 out of a C1500 or Tahoe. An S10 trans will work, an S10 Blazer will work. The smaller torque converter will give you more power, or not power, but more torque and stuff in the power band. That would be a 4.3. So okay, so there's that. Let me get the battery connected back up again, and we'll test this after I connect the ground wires. So hold on, let me do that. Alright guys, so the battery's connected. Let's check this out. So let's get the lower whatchamacallit on. The filler panel on. Gotta align stuff. Okay, that's there, that's there. This is the one that kind of sucks because it's all bent over here. I will probably need to get me another filler panel. So that's fixed. That won't work. Where did I put it? Oh, it's over here on the trailer. It wouldn't be an Elkins video if I'm not hunting for parts or tools. So, yeah, I don't really like how they routed that, but, and looks like it might have been leaking. So I'll have to check that hose really quick. Let's see. You know, I have seen stuff loose before, but because they're busy. It did take some. You know, a mechanic shop, you're trying to get stuff in and out as quick as possible. So, you know, sometimes stuff gets left loose. So, you know, I'm so glad though that the one guy that used to work at the mechanic shop that I go to doesn't work there anymore. When I had the black truck, I took it in for an oil change because, yeah, I can do my own oil changes, but I don't. Well, the kid did the oil change on the truck, parked the truck, and it blew a brake line, didn't say anything. I come to pick up the truck, and I'm like, Jason, I says, he says, what? I says, the truck's got a blown brake line. You're kidding. I said, no. The kid didn't even say a word. I said, I'm going to find me a GMC work truck grill. There was a couple at the junkyards that I went to this past weekend, but they weren't to my liking. Hold on a second. Alright, so we got this snapped in. Like I said, I'm missing the two clips for these two. I'll probably pull them out of a junkyard truck. Because, like I said, this grill is supposed to be the base model grill. Shoot, I just dropped that. Found it. Now, that GMC grill was busted right around in here, probably from the mechanic and me leaning on it, which, no harm, no foul, they do that. I'm missing one screw. I'll have to get into the truck and grab one. Because when I go to the junkyard, I always throw the screws in the toolbox. Because you never know when you're going to need them. Okay, so this side is, this looks like it's the right hand side. Okay, how does it, goes like so. And here's this one. This one goes like so. And this one hooks in differently from the originals. It goes like that. And it only takes 2 screws. This side, I could use a new set of these. Maybe I'll find another set when I find the GMC grill. Ha ha ha. Because this side is faded. These lights came from, or these turn signal came from a 1997, the same one that the grill came from. So that's how you do it correctly to convert it over to the work truck style. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one.